some scary Reddit stories. These are from my favorite Reddit thread for horror things, or scary things, I should say. It's from r/Let's Not Meet. They are stories about like real people or real situations where people, I guess real, because there's not really any way we can confirm or deny that these stories are real. So, yeah, I've always found these stories about, real accounts and, like, actual human being interactions, like, to be scarier than, just, like, someone explaining how they saw a girl in their house, or something, like a little girl ghost, or something like that. But that's just me. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, ghost stories are still scary sometimes to me, but not always like this, Anyway, so the first story here is called Creeper Beats on My Door and Turns Ring Camera Off. So, this happened a few years ago, but it stuck with me because of how weird and scary it was. So every year for the past few years, my parents have been going on a week-long anniversary trip, leaving me home alone. I was 20, so it was more than an appropriate age. Well, that's good to know. Well, this time around, some weird happened on the first day that they were gone, and then this happened the night before they were supposed to come home. I don't know if I ever cursed on here. I bleeped out a word when I was talking. I'm just gonna do it because I don't care. The first day they were gone, a guy came to the door to drop something off in the morning, but I didn't want to answer it, as it was a stranger, and I thought he'd leave it at the door like usual. Well, he stayed out for about 5 minutes, and then got in his car and started to drive off, to which I went outside, because I thought he finally left it. This man got out of his car, leaving it in the middle of the road, just to give me my package that I didn't have to sign for at all. No signature needed or anything. Wasn't dressed like a delivery person. Was in a beat-up car. Very weird and uncomfy. Also, I just heard a sound and that scared me. Skipping to the end of the week, I was just chilling out in my living room, and all of a sudden, at 11 at night, I see this rather large figure approach my front door. The glass is dimpled, so you don't see any features, but just a silhouette, and starts banging on my door like he did so starts banging on my door, and he did so for like a minute straight. He stands there and doesn't leave for probably 10 minutes, and in that time, beats on the door a few times over. Luckily, my sister and her family live not even a mile away from me, so I call them, and her husband comes to get me. By this time, I'm in full panic mode, and I realize that my dogs are in the backyard. My door is 90% glass, and I was horrified that this person was going to come through the back gate. And I tried to come into my house as my dogs were barking up a storm. Anyways, I get my dogs inside the house, and my brother-in-law finally shows up, and whoever was there was gone. He takes me to my sister's house, and we check the front door cameras to see who was there. The cameras had been turned off the whole time this person was there, and for an hour before he started banging on my door. cameras had been on before that time period, and during the time we were looking at the cameras, they were somehow shut off for about an hour and a half, which was odd because they're not the type that need to be charged, and they have never glitched before then, but we're actually very sensitive. To this day, I don't know who it was that showed up at the house. I checked the local news and everything, but nothing ever came of it. I didn't know if they were trying to rob my house or if they had other plans. I lost my place. Or if it was potentially the delivery guy from earlier that week. But it still freaks me out to think about, and I hate being home alone at night because of it. Wow. That is freaky. I think, like, this is a perfect example of stuff that I find creepy. It's like, just some random weird person's like, what and why? I think it's perfectly, like, unknown, and obviously that's why. Bumped my camera. Obviously that's why, like, or one of, the things that humans fear the most is the unknown. So to have, like, a human being do something so weird and, like, irrational, I guess, or just without purpose, like, to you, I think it's just freaky. But then when you know, or, like, that's why I think ghost stories aren't so scary to me, because, okay, a little girl's right in front of you, but then what? I don't really know. Anyway, on to the next story. Okay, this one's called Creepy Man Chasing Me and My Friend. Hi there. I've told a few of my friends this story before, and I did get advice about posting it on here by a few friends, so let's begin. I also apologize, as English is not my first language. I was about 13 when this happened, and I lived right on the beach. If you walked about 1.5 kilometers down the beach from my house, you would get to a place where some ocean would be left behind to form a sort of lake, where me and a lot of my friends liked to hang out. Next to it were 2 dirt roads. Anyways, I had a German Shepherd, and my mother used to kick me out of the house every weekend for a few hours to go play with the dog, which I did not mind. There was a cliff above the beach, which you could take to walk to the lake, which was overlooking the beach, but covered in forest. And that day, it was particularly hot. Sorry. I had a beer, and I'm burpy. Anyway, I need to find my place. So I chose to spare me and my dog a hot walk and walk up in the forest. I've done this many times before and wasn't afraid at all. As I was walking, I hear muffled footsteps behind me. My dog was up far ahead of me off leash, and I quickly realized that someone had been sneaking up behind me, because it was near impossible to walk on the dry foliage silently here. I quickly made a run for it to the exit of the forest, seemingly hearing the footsteps become audible behind me. No worries, I was out at the lake now. It was plain open, and I could already spot a girlfriend of mine there. My dog was already in the water as I went to greet my friend when we noticed a large man approach us. He must have been close to 2 meters and very slim. I don't know the metric system. He started talking to both of us very kindly, and without knowing any better, we both were polite to him. I, at the time, did not associate the footsteps with this man, but later grew to. He asked a lot of questions, or he asked a lot about us, where we were from, if anyone was here with us, and so on. And slowly, me and my friend got creeped out. We said our goodbyes, saying we had to go off to meet our other friends and moved to a further distance down the lake. We sat down for a bit and started talking when my dog started growling. She never used to growl like this, so this took me by surprise. I looked to see what she was growling at, and lo and behold, the man was standing about 50 meters behind us. Me and my friend had got on now and moved again. Same thing, but he was closer now. We were getting freaked out by now. We were being followed, and we were all alone. My friend called her mother to pick us up, though she was at least an hour away. That meant we were stuck with this creep for an hour or so. Joy. The more we moved, the more he came closer. I had leashed my dog by now, as she was going completely rabid at this man. Every time we looked at him, he smiled back, as if we were some sort of close friends. He tailed us for a while until we saw my friend's mother's car arrive at the dirt road. Now, this road was about 200 meters from us, and to get there, we had to cross where the man was standing. We were terrified. Her mother saw the situation starting running over, which caught the man's attention, which meant it was time to dash. I don't think any time in my life I have run that far, that fast. My dog was running with us as I let her leash go. When we got to the car, we hastily ran in. As the man ran towards us, we stayed in the car while my friend's mother called 112 and waited inside the car. The man throwing rocks and wailing at us, eventually running off as the police arrived. When the police arrived, they questioned everyone and went looking for the man, but never found him. I'm still terrified he's in that forest, waiting for me. I didn't know that day my friend would be there. I don't know what would have happened if she wasn't there. I didn't have a phone or any form of contact, and I'm pretty sure if he would have gotten me, he would have won against my dog. So, to the creepy man who stalked me and tried to catch me and my friend, let's not meet again. I feel like this is one of those stories that I'm like, I feel like this could happen to me. Just because, like, well, also, like, at the beginning, or like, beginning to middle part of this, like, there's definitely that point where you're thinking, like, this is just some weird coincidence, this person's following me, like, but you never know. There's also kind of this thing that happens with these stories where, like, sometimes the people that, you know, they're saying, let's not meet, sometimes it's just a misunderstanding, and, like, the person, I've seen stories on here where the people are like, I think I was somebody's let's not meet because, like, I was acting weird, but I didn't mean to do that, like, so that's kind of funny, but anyway, on to the next one. Okay. This one is called A Man Was Living in My Basement for Months. You hear stories about people unknowingly squatting in other people's homes, but never think it would actually happen to you. It happened to me. About 10 years, I, 31F, was living alone in a two-family house on the second floor with my then toddler. For the story's sake, to make sense, I need to try and explain the layout and the backstory. My brother's close friend at the time, lived on the first floor and is the one who referred me to the landlord. We had private private front entrances, but shared a back entrance with a staircase that ran from the basement all the way to the second floor. I would frequently leave my back door unlocked because I had a habit of locking my keys in the house, and my downstairs neighbor could let me in the back door. The downstairs neighbor had a friend who was kind of down and out. He had a history of substance abuse, but was supposedly clean at the time. He was a relatively nice guy, and my neighbor had been letting him stay on his couch for a while. The neighbor had a 4-year-old daughter, and having someone constantly sleep on the couch without any plans of finding a permanent living situation was becoming disruptive to their everyday lives. Neighbor tells him he needs to go. It was summertime, so the friend decides he's going to sleep on the couch on our covered porch. We tell him that's not acceptable, and when we asked him to leave, we meant the property in general. It also became abundantly clear that he was using again, and his behavior had become somewhat erratic. He was also making a lot of unsolicited advances on me, which had become increasingly uncomfortable. He wasn't happy, but it wasn't our problem. He stopped coming around, and we no longer saw him around town. Fast forward a month or two, and I noticed things going missing. Jewelry, small amounts of money left around the house, lighters, inconsequential items I had written off as lost. This house was old with paper-thin walls. The back door in question was right next to the bathroom, along one side of the shower. It also made a very distinct noise when opened. One day, my car was at the mechanic, so it probably appeared that I wasn't home. I'm showering, and I swear I hear the back door open. I freeze, practically stop breathing, but after a few minutes, when nobody murdered me American Psycho style, I wrote it off again. I'm a notorious wimp and had a history since childhood of thinking every strange noise was a potential murderer. You can tell I'm getting more tired as I'm reading these because I keep jumping around. This was a long time ago, so I don't remember the exact length of time, possibly a few weeks. The basement was really big and shared, and the landlord also stored stuff down there. It was very packed with some very dark corners. We rarely went down there. The landlord comes by one day and goes down to the basement. He hears a strange noise, grabs a baseball bat, and finds this man in our basement. The man pushed the landlord down, runs out of the house and down the street. We call the police, who find him holed up or hiding in it. Where am I finding these words? I'm embellishing. Find him hiding in a trash can around the corner. Upon further investigation, we find the basement window had been ever so slightly propped open. In a back corner behind some boxes was a nest of blankets filled with our missing items, plus some drug paraphernalia. It reminded me of Creature's Nest under the stairs in Grimwald Place. If you know, you know. He had also left his flip phone behind in this chaos, where we found a lot of pictures of me sleeping. This man had been high on crack, living in our basement, and regularly entering my apartment, both when I wasn't home and when I was sleeping, for months. While he seemed like a nice guy, he was regularly high on drugs, and that changes people. I still get chills knowing he could have done anything to me and my child, and I would have never seen it coming. The worst part is that the charges somehow got dropped, and they never even consulted us, and they never gave us an option as the victims. This was not even close to his first criminal offense. My state is notoriously soft on non-violent criminals, regardless of whether it was a victimless crime or not. My local police department is also notorious for making deals in exchange for information on even small-time dealers. We didn't get any justice. Luckily, this didn't have much lasting effect on my mental health, just more of a WTF. Can't believe this really happened. It feels like a fever dream. Jason, let's not meet. I wouldn't really call this frogging, but the stories of people, living in someone else's home, it's just, those freak me out. And, honestly, this one sounds pretty tame, minus, the fact that he was, taking pictures of them. I say it's tame because, I've heard stories of them, I don't know, trying to hurt them and stuff, so. Also, you can hear my dog in the background getting up. She is making her way to the bed. This is where I'm gonna cut it. I hope you guys enjoyed those scary, spooky stories. I love scary stories, so it was fun to read some tonight and just finish Halloween off right. But I hope you guys are able to fall asleep and are hopefully not too scared. There she goes again. Anyway, I hope you're not too scared and you're able to get some nice rest tonight. But yeah. Happy Halloween. Happy late Halloween. And I'll see you guys next time.